son's now 18 months. So I'm very happy to be home with him now, and I got my closet back up going, and I do it part-time now when I can find the time. I do cross-list on Mercari. I've only sold a Hatchimal so far, which is not on Poshmark, obviously. So I've pretty much just cross-listed my lower end items, like $12 dresses that should probably just be donated. But I was like, oh, I'll just see if I can do it. But I focus on Poshmark. I like that one the best.
That's good. Yeah, I like the fact that you said that you're part-time, because there are people who are home with their children and they do say they're full-time. At least you acknowledge that.
Oh yeah, I would consider, if you're doing it full-time, you're putting in at least 40 hours. And I mean, I'm lucky. I try to put in, on days that I source, I probably do put in 4 or 5 hours. And I mean, if I did that every day, that would be part-time. But yeah, I know what you mean. Like, I've seen people say, oh, I'm full-time on Posh and I'm lucky if I sell 2 things every day. I'm like, I don't really think that's full-time.
Yeah. No, so someone will listen to this and nod their head and say, I love what she's saying. I really do, because you're not going to overwhelm yourself, but you're also home and you're also able to make money. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Pania, hello.
Hi,
I'm
Leslie.
so happy to see you.
I'm so happy to be here.
So I'm asking you something totally different. I'm going to ask you, what is your spending budget, and how do you determine your spending budget for the month?
So I started with no budget, mainly because I only sold my own personal things. So that had no budget in there. But I really just used what I sold and used that as my budget. And I think like in March of 2018, or was it, no, March of 2019, I'm sorry, I made $300, and I was selling for a whole year already, just selling my own personal things. And so I used that $300 and invested into my reselling business because I really wanted to get more serious with it. And I didn't start sourcing until like the end of May, and I really started being more serious about it with June. So June of 2019, that was the first month of me sourcing and selling my sourced items. And I don't think I spent more than $200 with it. And like I said, just with every sale that I got, I just invested it back into my business, and I didn't spend any of my personal money. It was just all my sales. And now that I've been doing it for like 5 months, I've been looking back at my sales and like my cost of goods and how much I've been spending. And it seems like my cost of goods have been roughly around $200, so that's kind of been my budget. Like, I just kind of look at the previous month, what my cost of goods was, and then I kind of think about that with my next month. So yeah, last month I think it was like $220 that my cost of goods was for what I had sold that month, and I'm just gonna probably spend about the same amount this month moving forward. So that's kind of what I've been kind of doing.
Well, I also appreciate you sharing your numbers. I was just talking about a post you put on Instagram today, and you broke your numbers down. And I think the first month was June, and then you compared it to October, right? Because we're now into November. But I think it's really important for people to really look at their numbers and see what they're putting out and what they're getting in. Would you agree with that? And then also, does it make you feel more business-minded that you're controlling your numbers, controlling your spending, controlling your budget?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like in June, my cost of goods that I was spending was about $200 too, but my profit that I made was $300. So that was, or actually I think it was only, I believe it was like $300. So that was like me doubling only my money, not even doubling my money. And now that I'm like in my 6th month of reselling, I'm like making 5 times what my cost of goods was. So when you look at your cost of goods, I was spending the same amount of money, but my profits are higher now than it was back then. And so I think it's really important to constantly learn and constantly think about your business and how you want to grow it. And that's from learning from other resellers, the community, from connecting with others who are successful and asking them questions. I think that's what's really kind of helped me grow within the last few months, was really just asking resellers questions that, you know, because if they're doing something well, I'm going to reach out to them and ask them what they're doing so that I could kind of implement that into my business.
Yeah.
So this is Danielle. I just wanted to add something. I think it's important too, if you are working a full-time job, that you're not touching your income. And Penny and I talk about this often, that the only money that we use is whatever we make on Poshmark. We do not touch any other funds whatsoever. So I just want to relay that message. I think it's important.
Well, I'm going to piggyback on that because that's exactly how I run my business. My household money stays separate. Well, one thing I will say is this is my full-time gig now. So that makes a little bit of a difference. So I have to be more structured, more goal, more budget oriented with it. And because nothing else is coming in. So I do have 2 separate bank accounts. One is just totally straight savings. Can't touch it, won't touch it. And then the other one, what comes in, I push money into savings. And then I use the checking or whatever, depending on the bank is, for spending into my business. And I do think it's really important that if you are running a business to structure it like that so that you can keep track of your funds. Plus, if you remember your why, like I know Daniela, I don't know everyone's story, but I know she has student loans and it's things that she's working to. We all have things that we're working to. So it's really important to really think about where your money's going and not just spending it. People love to source. It's great to source. It really is. But if you're not making any money, why are you still sourcing?
Right. I think you just have to source smartly.
Yeah.
If you're not making money, then how are you utilizing your money that you do have?
Right. And then if you're sourcing, like Pania, she changed her mindset of how she sourced. And so she changed it, but she connected with Daniela, right? And they went to the bins and they did some different things. And now she started sourcing smarter to have a higher income as opposed, and it's nothing wrong. So as I'm saying this, I don't want anyone to think that I'm saying to them to go start sourcing, because we all have, you know, I hear it's beautiful and wonderful to source here in Massachusetts.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, Rhode Island and everything. Where I'm at in Delaware, I have so many places to source. But as I'm saying this, I don't want anyone who is currently sourcing to change the way they're sourcing if you don't have available what you need.
I have all my stuff listed. I really don't like having a death pile. Right now I do have a small death pile, I have to admit, but I haven't sourced because I have that death pile, or I should say money pile. So I think it's really important that you're not constantly sourcing and not listing too. You know, you can source, but you also have to list. And so for me, I try not to source at all if I just have a pile that I need to list.
Nice.
This is where we're friends.
So, Daniela, this is a really good question. What has been the most valuable lesson you have learned since you started reselling?
For me personally, and I can't speak for anyone else, it has been to just run my business my way and be authentic to myself. Don't look at what anyone else is doing. It doesn't matter. I know there's lots of famous resellers out there and Instagram influencers and all this stuff. It really doesn't matter. You need to do what's best for you and for your family and your future and what your goals are. So that has been the most important lesson for me. I mean, there's all lessons out there, right? Between sourcing, like we've been talking about, and spending money, and you know, bad investments, good investments. But the most important thing for me is just to be authentic and to be myself.
I love it. Hi, Maria.
Hello.
So this is a good question, Maria. What type of reaction do you get when you tell people you resell for a living?
Well, I guess it depends on who you ask. For the most part, my family is very supportive, as well as my friends. I get a lot of donations from everyone because I really can't go out and source. So that's positive. Sometimes my mother will come upstairs. I live upstairs from my mom. She's this little old Italian lady. And she can't quite grasp the concept of me selling other people's things until they are washed, steamed, and hung up. And then she goes through the rack. And she starts to take, oh, you don't need this, do you? Or you're not going to sell that, are you? Yeah. So she's turned around now that she sees the end result.
That's beautiful. I know, I think a lot of people, they find that they have to explain like what they're doing. I personally don't. I don't. I'm like, if you're not paying my bills, I never worry about.
Amen.
My husband and I are the only important people in the room, not even our kids or anything. And I've been like that all my life, because people just say, when do you stop having kids? Well, are you paying,
Exactly.
for my bills and stuff? And it's not to be rude or anything. It's like, why should you give somebody an input into your life when they're not living your life and helping you live your life? Okay. Oh, Lori, let's talk about this, because people, if they're not following you on YouTube, they really need to. What is the most challenging part of being a YouTuber?
Oh, okay. So for me, I'm 46 years old, and the biggest challenge for me has been the technology end of it. Truthfully, I'm pretty comfortable in front of a camera, and I enjoy connecting with people. For me, it was uploading my videos, and I joked about it in one of my videos that I think for 6 months of my videos, I had no idea how to put a picture within the frame. So I would watch other people and the image would show up, and I was fascinated by it. Like, how did they get there? And just like really stumbling my way through iMovie and figuring out how to do minor edits, like how to split a clip. I mean, I watched so many YouTube videos myself on how to produce a YouTube video. I still don't have an intro or an outro. I'm very proud of myself for figuring out how to do a thumbnail on Canva. It's a great website. Honestly,
Yes,
I struggle.
Canva's my go-to.
My son Rocco is 15, and he is the reason I got monetized. He's like, "Mom, you need to apply for this." I'm like, "What's that?" Like, I really didn't. So he applied for monetization for me, and he set up my commercials. I honestly, like, it is by far the biggest challenge for me. I really enjoy being on YouTube, and those are the things that are stumbling blocks for me. I do like to edit my videos. A lot of people don't edit, but there's just a few embarrassing moments that I need to edit sometimes. So I do edit, but it's a little bit of a struggle for me. But yeah, that's been the biggest challenge for me. And then, like, to say a little bit what Daniela said, do I do 1,000? I've never done a thread up unboxing. I really have to do what I love.
Right.
And that always isn't what is going to bring in the views, or I recently did a video on cross-posting to Vendu, and I thought that was a really valuable thing to put out there, and I still believe that. It was one of my lowest viewed videos. Like, my Goodwill outlet bins are by far, those hauls are the best, but I need to do more than just that. So just trying to find the balance and making sure that I'm putting out good content, and the technology above and beyond that's the hardest thing for
Your
me.
content is good. The thing is, what happens is when you get an audience, they stay with you because of what you're doing. So when you branch out, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. And I say, keep doing it and see what works. But because you're doing outlet videos, that's your audience.
Right.
And it is.
And I'm actually
in a
okay
sense,
with like people like with lower numbers.
Right.
It's
Right.
not. I am not the primary source of income
Right.
for my home,
Right.
and that has given me a lot of freedom
Right.
to be creative and to not worry about like the money coming in or whatnot. I mean, it gives me a lot of pride to be contributing, but because I haven't, I've been a stay-at-home mom for 20 years, so. It's been kind of like Maria was saying, I kind of had to find myself now that my kids are getting older and what I was going to do. So this kind of has been a fun thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely piggyback off of that, because I did my videos, but the podcast has been like life, and I'm with you. I do not like to edit, so this is my challenge. So listeners.
It's amazing to be learning something all the time. I do love that about all this.
If I say I edited, that means I really edited this.
It's great.
Lizette, we're back to you. What is your favorite part about reselling?
So other than connecting with everyone and meeting new people, my favorite part is the experience when my buyers, are purchasing from me, that they get the thank you from me, they get the experience, the wrapping and the excitement of their purchase. So, just to give them a little, they know that what they bought, but they got a little extra happiness when they opened it or received it. So that's important to me.
Good. That's good stuff. What I want to say is that just really look at your numbers too. It's nice to send wonderful packages out. But what Lori was saying, simplistic. I'm simplistic. I'm a plastic bag with a sticker with my logo on it, and there you are. And then you see that you don't spend that much money. So maybe start writing down
Yeah,
seeing what goes
I've
out.
always, I mean, we had a daycare for 15 years,
Yeah.
and that whole aspect of I'm a little overboard with stuff like that. So I like to make people feel good, and
Yeah.
for me that makes,
Yeah.
you know. So I do try to make sure I purchase things inexpensively, and you know, I stretch what I have, but I definitely
Good.
like to give that little extra.
That's good. That is good. Crystal, we're back to you. Okay. What is the most helpful tool to make an item look brand new? This one, I can't wait to hear your answer.
I like to clean shoes, which is weird, but like
Me
I love buying shoes and making them look like.
So you're not
new.
weird because
Okay,
else.
I'm here because I love it.
So I got the I buy a lot of Converse shoes, even though I know they don't resell really well, but I love to clean them up. And I use those like bleach cloths on them, and it makes this part turn like white. I don't do it to my own shoes, obviously, but I I do it for shoes I'm selling. And I use baby wipes also on shoes. You can use Vaseline on patent leather to like make it shiny. I know I'm forgetting something. Oh, Goo Gone. Goo Gone's one of those. I have like a whole like arsenal of tools for cleaning. And then for like cleaning clothing, like I feel like steaming something makes it look like 100% better. Even if you got it in the bin where it's like a crumpled mess, as long as you like steam it and make it look pretty.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So what are you using Goo Gone for?
If there's anything like weird stuck to a shoe or something, you know, it's like people have used them and walked on all kinds of surfaces, and you know, you gotta. I hate it when people send things out like disgusting, and I've definitely received disgusting things before and had to clean them myself. So I hope people appreciate when I do that for them.
Yeah, we're gonna Nicole. Okay, Nicole. How long have you been selling on Poshmark?
January 2015.
So you've been there for a minute. So tell us about how it was back then. What's the difference between how it was then and how it is now?
A lot more features, so I really love the bundle feature, the offer to likers features. Those weren't there before, so those are the main features that I love now.
And since you started, they started selling like men's and children's clothes. Do you sell any of those items?
I've sold men's, children's, and some home stuff, but I usually just post women's items.
Just kind of stick with women's. Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Andrew, you mentioned that you are on Depop. The first question is, are you making any sales? No. Let me go back. What attracted you to Depop? And then 2, are you making any sales on Depop?
Well, when I heard about the app, I heard that it was geared towards younger people, and I kind of like that. And really, I'm not making many sales there, but I do like going on there just to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And they have the UK and other people involved, so I kind of like that just to observe and see what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, and what young people are really into.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because styles, I don't understand some of these styles nowadays. You know, it makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
But you know, it after a while, it started making sense. You know, and they're into the vintage thing, and you know, and to me, their vintage is like, hey, I used to wear that.
Yeah.
You know what I
I'm
mean?
telling you. Yeah.
So, you know, that kind of attracted me to it, but I'm not making many sales there.
Yeah, I really like Depop. I used to sell on Depop. Like this time last year, I was doing Depop. It was just weird with the shipping of something for me, so I left it alone. It really, if you haven't sold on Depop, it is an avenue to like look into, especially for vintage. But for me,